Hi, everybody. So I hope you can hear me. Um, I got my webcam running and my headphones on, and just wanted to talk a little bit about what I'm going to be doing with my Patreon account over at patreon.com, LindaRiesenbergFisler. You can join at a number of levels, but basically we'll be doing some art. I'll be doing some live painting, but over on Patreon, if I can get Crowdcast to work, I'll be talking about some different painting lessons and some different writing lessons, like how to start your fiction novel, how to write an art instruction book. And we'll do a number of things. And the folks that are my patrons, send me an email and let me know what particularly you'd like me to cover, and we can set up and do one of these live events, and you can ask questions, and we can have a great talk. So what I'm up to is the commission behind me, other way, over that way behind me. So sorry, this is backwards. And then I'm going to start actually going to pull out the palette nights. I may play around with that a little bit later this afternoon after I get done with lunch downstairs. This morning, though, I've been reading this wonderful book by Juliet. There we go. And it talks about basically just beginning lessons for drawing ateliers. And an atelier is like a real in-depth place to study. It's kind of from back in the the old masters days with, they would come to class and the masters would study and mentor their students. An atelier, it's kind of like work, so it's artwork. And they would cover, like spend weeks on dissecting their hands, like first draw the bone structure, then draw the muscle structure on top of it, and then draw the skin on top of that. So they have a very deep understanding of that kind of, how the skin works, how muscles work, what happens to the bone, so that when they're drawing, they have a better understanding of if I have this hand kind of sitting here, they have a better understanding of everything that goes into creating that in a drawing. So this book, the Drawing Beginning Atelier, is from Juliet, who has an atelier out in Seattle. So it's almost like drawing and learning from her, only we're doing it through a book. And I've gotten through the foreword. So here's some of her work there. And I am now on the chapter. So here's another nice video, going the wrong way. There we go. Drawing in there, and she talks a little bit about that. But what we're starting at is very basic line. So that's the chapter I am on right now. And I had talked to Juliet and asked her if I could video myself doing some of these drawings. And she agreed. So thank you, Juliet. I appreciate that. You're a sweetie. I miss you too. Haven't talked to you. We're going to do an art chat as soon as I get things figured out, and we can get it on both of our schedules. So the chapter 1, we talk about line, and she has this really cool, I always love calligraphy, but I'll get into that. I just want to show you this. Isn't this cool? So you can actually work right in this book. So she tells you to get a pencil and to start drawing, and talks a little bit about how to do that. And I'll do that in a separate session. But I wanted to talk a little bit about being a writer and being an artist. Line is something that I basically deal with and like dealing with. Like I said, I used to try to do calligraphy. I used to draw that way and be real fancy with my letters. And if you think back, you look at the documents written in the 1700s, and it has all that calligraphy, fancy letter making, and it was basically a work in art in itself. So there's this common bridge that goes between writing and art. And I always said I had wonderful penmanship until I began working at Procter and Gamble, and I was in such a hurry, my penmanship really went away. So I'm trying to, back off a bit. And if you think about how in kindergarten you learned how to write, before that we had no idea how to write. We started to work with letters and practicing it over and over until we could make that letter correctly with quotes around it. From there, we learned how to write cursive. And then at some point in our learning process, we decided that we were going to buck the rules and we were going to make our penmanship much more personal. Whether that be because we were rushed in writing something down or because we wanted to be more artful with the way that we worked and the way that we wrote. I had very artful looking penmanship back in high school and took my time writing. Some of the papers looked, really nice. I combined printing and writing together. I'm not the only one that did that. We all do that. But look at that pattern of learning and the confidence that you gain to step out of that and then become someone who kind of broke the rules, found your own voice in your penmanship. Your art journey is exactly the same way. You learn your techniques. You learn the basic foundations. You study line. Sorry about that. Hold on. Sorry, somebody's trying to call me. So you start on that journey of learning line and value and color and drawing, and all of that goes in together. And as you start to gain confidence, and after some certain rules, and if you listen to the myths and realities of creating a painting where Carolyn Anderson and I talk, you understand that there basic really isn't any rules, but we get told those in the beginning because we have to kind of narrow our focus on what it is we need to learn. So just like how we went from printing to cursive to creating our own artful penmanship, that journey still, we had rules. When we were printing, you had to start in the center of the dotted line and, stroke down and then stroke up and then stroke down again for the letter A, the small letter A. We are starting to learn those brush strokes. We're starting to learn that color mixing. We're starting to learn that journey, go along that journey. So we start with printing, we jump into cursive. So we start with the basics, we jump into expanding that base. Then we jump into becoming more confident and breaking some of the so-called rules that were told to us prior to that. And then we start exploring and experimenting. So I was so happy to see that Juliet started there with penmanship, being a writer and an author. And it's going to be a lot of fun to get into this book a little bit. So I will start to set up some lessons over for my patrons over on my Patreon account and share some of the learning that I learned with that. I'll actually go through and do some drawing and, whatever the lesson is that Juliet is trying to teach me, I will try to do that. And you can watch me struggle through it if you want and join me in some conversation as well. So again, this is only going out to the patrons. I told Juliet that I would not do it publicly. And I don't think she had a problem with that. It's more me that has a problem with it. Juliet is a wonderful writer. She has a great, vast knowledge, naturally a master. And we make a number of great conversations points to each other when we talk this out. So again, I was really happy to see her start with line and actually start with penmanship and go from there. So that's one thing that I have coming up. And like I said, I'll be doing a lot of live sessions coming up. When I'm painting, I'll just turn on. I tried to set up my iPad, but I think it's too old. It's not going to let me go live the way that I want it to go live. It's just kind of really strange and crazy. So I'll probably have to do that with my phone versus my webcam. I don't think you'll be able to see me, and I don't think my cords are long enough to actually put them on my painting table behind me. But so I'll be doing that through live, and you can join in and watch me paint. And trying to think what else were we doing. I got some commissions, working with some students. I got to pull some lesson stuff together. So those will be shared with our patrons, with my patrons as well. So lots of fun stuff coming up. Working on book 5. Put in about close to 3,500 words yesterday. So I'll probably get to work on that again either Friday or Saturday. Probably will paint tomorrow because I want to get my palette knives out for that commission behind me. And so tune in for that. And let's see, gonna go bike riding tomorrow too. So that'll be a first time. Keep your fingers crossed. I'm not sure where we're going, but it'll be fun. It'll be fun. So thanks for tuning in. Again, become a patron. Watch me struggle with my drawing, and we'll learn together. Get Juliet's book. It's really, really good. It's available on Amazon. Beginning Atelier, an instructional sketchbook. Everything will be. You can do everything in this book if you want to. I will probably do it on some sketch paper when I'm setting up and videotaping this. If you have anything that you would like me to address, just drop me a note. And I think that's pretty much it. Probably have some color mixing stuff coming up. I don't know, just trying to, get back into the habit of creating again. So take care, guys. We'll see you later. Bye.